Ladies and gentlemen, HEX community of all ages, hey, Jake Freedom here, coming to you live from YouTube for this week's HEX Update Saturday for February 8th, 2014. Now, this past Thursday, we did have a patch rollout, patch 822, and it was littered with a few changes, some general fixes, a few new cards, and some gameplay changes as well, and there's still also a couple known issues in the actual game. So let's just go and get started here with some of the general stuff that they did. There's probably about 20 different things here, so we'll just kind of highlight some of the more important ones here that they talk about. So their very first one here is troops no longer incorrectly retain animation, indicating they cannot perform actions. I.e., that would be like, if somebody played Inner Conflict on one of your cards, and then you reverted it, those little icons would disappear. Also, the axe animation no longer stays on a champion when it's being attacked, and then that troop is removed. I've noticed that quite a bit there in the past, and I remember asking myself one time, why is my champion look like it's being attacked there? So that is finally corrected. Another one here is players can no longer name a deck with unsupported characters. Tooltips in the card manager now trigger correctly. Hitting enter while searching for cards in the card manager will no longer open the chat window. This is awesome. That was so annoying. Every time you search for a card, then boom, the chat would open up, and then you try to search for another card, and you wouldn't be able to do that. You have to go back and click up in the actual search field. So I'm glad they got that fixed there. Let's see, they have updated the tournament lobby layout a little bit. Players with special characters in their computer's username will no longer be prevented from seeing card images. Now, this one probably took them a long time to figure out that since people's computer username had some weird characters that was preventing them card images, it's probably difficult to track down and see what was going on there. So that's good they got that fixed for those special cases there. Players should no longer receive an intermittent servers down message. Good deal there. Resources are now able to appear in the void. Good stuff. Another good one here is players in tournament lobbies can now chat with each other. That's good. People were complaining about that for a long time, that they would like to be able to chat while, waiting in a lobby there. So I'm glad they got that fixed there. All right, just a few of the gameplay changes here. And I'll go ahead and link to these patch notes in the actual description so you can go over all of them. I just don't want to take up too much of your time here. Okay, gameplay. Multiple masteries of time played on the same turn now correctly provide the correct number of additional turns. I've only ever played once. I've never actually played more than one, so I guess I didn't know that was even an issue there. Incubation Slave no longer incorrectly retains counters after sacrifice. The Mushwaki's ability now works correctly with sacrifice effect. Polymorph Dingler now interacts correctly with Honeycap, and Polymorph Dingler now no longer removes the same effect on all cards within a player's deck. And there was a text error on Survival of the Fittest. That was a card that came out 2 patches ago, I believe. It now reads, target troop you control battles target opposing troop. And let's see here, Soul Marble now correctly displays the counters on the actual card. That was so annoying when you were playing against somebody that was using Soul Marble. You had to try to keep track in your head, okay, how many times have they tapped that? Was it 4 and they have 6 resources now? And it was just kind of tough, so you're like, okay, you just had to basically say, okay, they have 6 resources now in their hand, it's probably going to go off and transform there. Let's see here. Decks are created for players that do not successfully create one in sealed play. So that's good, because there was always an issue where if you got to do a sealed play tournament and somebody didn't save their deck or something weird happened, when this tournament would start and there wasn't a valid deck, the whole tournament would just collapse in on itself. That was because somebody didn't have a valid deck. Well, now they've got it, so even if you don't have a valid deck, they're gonna create one for you, whether it just be 40 resources or whatever. And another one here I didn't even really notice, because I've never drafted more than 3 of the same card in sealed play, is you can now play more than 4 of the same type in sealed play, which is good, but I've never actually come across that because I've only had 3 of never any more than that. So let's see what else. Prime Sapphire of the Mind no longer incorrectly resolves without the required threshold. That's good, they're getting some of these gem things figured out. Frost Wizard no longer incorrectly counters all abilities on the chain. Good deal. And then we have troops are no longer stuck in a recalculating state when reversion is played on them. So that's kind of like, I think that's when they like their animation is twitching a lot. They're trying to always recalculate. It might be something like that, or it might have something to do with the syncing issue. I'm not sure there. Protectorate Defender effect no longer costs 1 resources when destroyed. Good stuff there. Alright, a couple of the known issues here is Reversion does not destroy Honeycap yet. The Mushwalkie's increased stats are temporary instead of permanent. And the Proving Grounds header isn't quite bold. You can actually see that if you roll into the Proving Grounds here. They have a little bit of an error there. No big deal. So let's go on to some of the new cards. And the first one here we're going to talk about is Doppelgadget. Doppelgadget is a 3 cost artifact. At the start of your turn, you may transform this artifact into target non-shapeshifter artifact you control. It gains this ability. So basically what this card does here is for 3 costs, you can transform it into any other artifact that you have in play, whether it be a secret laboratory, whether it be an Eternal Guardian or Volcanon, any type of artifact, you can turn it into that turn. And then at the beginning of every turn, it'll ask you, hey, do you want to transform it into something else? Do you want to keep it this? So it's kind of a cool card. You can get you can get a Eternal Guardian for 3 cost. You can get a Secret Lab for 3 cost. You can get some of these higher cost cards, for 3 cost. And it's kind of nice. So obviously, but if you change into like, Chaos Key, and you use that, you probably, I don't know if you'll be able to get it back. I haven't tried that yet. I'm pretty sure it would destroy the card, so you wouldn't actually be able to, take a Chaos Key, use the Chaos Key, and then have it return back to a Doppelgadget. You'd actually probably lose that card there. So yeah, very nice card for artifact-based decks, for sure. I was just kind of playing around with it here in this Art Dwarf deck I had going on here. It's just, it has that Shapeshifter along with some Eternal Guardians and Volcanon and that one big dude right here, Drew's Colossal Walker. So if you could, get one of him out there on turn 5, and then, do copy him and get that out of the way. Oops, not that one. Where'd he go? And then copy him, and then he can attack for 16, and then just pay 8 health and bam, do it again. I don't know. It was kind of the idea. I've only played with it once, so I mean it's nothing that's all that great yet anyway. So alright, so that's that card there. On a scale of 1 to 10, like I said, I don't normally rate cards. I'd give that one probably an 8. It is a good card here. Alright, next one here is Eldon's Distress Signal. This one here is not so sure about this one. Okay, so what it is, it's a 3 cost, 1 Sapphire Threshold constant, and it's unique. So you can only have this one down there one at a time. So basically what this thing does here is you exhaust 3 troops you control. This constant transforms into Eldon the Imprisoned. Okay, so first of all, that right there, exhaust 3 troops you control. So I've already had to put out 3 troops. Hopefully they're cheap. Hopefully they're only 1 cost cards and they've survived. And then I got to get this card out there, and hopefully it survives. And then I transform it into this Eldon the Imprisoned, who now is a troop that comes into play, who is a unique, and he's 2 attack, 4 defense. Now, granted, he's able to give troops flight this turn, but his card text is, this troop can attack, this troop can't block. At the end of your turn, if 3 or more troops you control dealt damage to an opposing champion this turn, transform this into Eldon the Liberated. Just to get it past this stage right here could be somewhat of a challenge. I mean, one, he's only 4 toughness. He's not impossible to remove. He's not immune to anything. Murder's gonna take care of this here. Chaos Key's gonna take care of this here. Extinction. Ruby Lance, if you have 5 Ruby Threshold, 2 Burns will take care of this card. Let's see here, what else? Rage Fire, escalated once, burn to the ground, 5 resources to take care of it. So basically what I'm saying here is I think this card is absolutely even if and when you do get this thing transformed into Eldon the Liberated, he still comes out as a 2/4, and he has flight. And then it says, when a troop you control deals damage to an opposing champion, draw a card. That's great and everything, and for 2 resources you can give a troop flight this turn again. A lot of work to end up with a card that basically, in my opinion, is subpar. Very, very subpar. One, it's unique, so you can only have one of them out on the board anyway. And, you know, this statement right here, when a troop you control deals damage to an opposing champion, draw a card. That's great, but wouldn't you rather have... I think I'd rather play this card here, Dream Dance. Troops in your deck get permanent when this troop enters play, draw a card. I'd rather have that, because that's only going to cost me 3, and I don't have to do anything else other than that. So, yeah, the Eldon stuff, not a fan. Probably will never play it. I might once just to see if I can actually get it done and see what it actually takes, but outside of that, I don't see this being used a lot in play at all. Now, that's constructed play. In sealed play, I don't think it'd work in sealed play either, you know, to tell you the truth, because there's just so much that you have to do, and usually sealed play is not like, okay, I'm gonna plan towards this, you know, this is what I'm gonna work towards. It's more along the lines of, okay, here's what we got, let's work with it. We don't have really long-term goals other than to deal 20 damage to our champion. So I don't think it'll work well in constructed or sealed play, to tell you the truth. You know, I take that back. No, I don't know. It's just so hard. It's just be so difficult. You know, you don't want to give up a turn of damage in sealed play just to get to here. But if you could get to here without having to, you know, do too much, then you can give, you know, your troops flight, which again, flight is pretty much a powerhouse in sealed. So if you could get him to here, I think you might have something. But I don't know. If I get this card in sealed play, I'll definitely try to see how quickly you can actually get him transformed. But I don't think you're going to have enough one-drop troops to be able to do that with and then give up their damage. So that's my thoughts on that one there. So let's take a look at the next one. The next one here is Lord Adam the Powerful. Now again, this card here, I don't think it'll see much play. It's just kind of like a trick card, like, hey, look at this, I can do this, this thing is awesome. It is kind of cool, but there's so much that has to happen. Lord Adam the Powerful, he's a steadfast troop with a 4-cost 1 diamond threshold. He is unique. He's a 4/4, and his card text says, void Lord Adam and Lord Benjamin and Lord Alexander. And then you can create the Triumvirate. Triumvirate? I think that's how you pronounce that. The Triumvirate, I can't click on it to show you, is a card. It's a three colored card. Let me see if I can pull it up here so you can see it. Open. Okay. See if I can share this real quick here. Add a screen region. That's not what I want. Where did he go? I won't be able to see it. Sorry. Okay. So there's Doppelgadget. And then we have... Oh, shoot, they're not going to bring it up here. Where's it at? Alright. There we go. So this is the Triumvirate. However you want to pronounce it. Try something. Anyway, he's a 9-cost, 3 diamond, ruby, sapphire threshold. He has flight, speed, and steadfast. When this troop attacks, draw 3 cards, then gain 3 health for each card in your hand, and then deal 3 damage to each opposing champion and troop. Awesome, powerful card. The only thing I'm not quite clear on yet is when you have Lord Adam, when it says void Lord Adam, Lord Benjamin, and Lord Alexander, do you have to do those at the same time, or can you do them just, you know, do you just have to have them in your void pool? That I'm not quite clear on. And there's only a few ways to void cards. You know, if I remember correctly, you have the Chaos Key will void a card. Defender of Argus, is that right? Argus will void a card. I just kind of wrote this down yesterday. Yeah, you got Chaos Key, Comet Strike, Argus, Frost Wizard possibly. So I think, he's not impossible to get going and to do that, but man, I don't know. Not my cup of tea. If you can get him to work, I think it's, I said it'll be nice, but I don't think it'll be like, this. You'll see this a lot because I think it's just a trick, like, oh, hey, look at this, and obviously it says, each opposing champion on the triumvirate, so it's probably a PvE card and not a PvP card, more so. So yeah, that's my thoughts there. Not good. I don't like it. That's just me. I don't like it. I don't like it. Deal with it. I don't like it. All right, next one, Gearsmith. This card I do like. I think this card is awesome. Gearsmith. He is a 1-cost, 1 Sapphire Threshold Troop Dwarf. And what he can do is when this troop enters play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may put an artifact from among them in your hand. If you do, it gets permanent cost -1. Shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. You can ask for anything cheaper than that. First of all, he's a 1-drop, he's 1 threshold, and he takes a cost off of one of your artifacts. So, if you find Secret Laboratory, now it's going to cost 3. If you find Surge Mechanism, now he's going to cost 2. Volcanon, oh, now he's a 4-cost. So you can see the power, or Druce, now he's going to be a 4-cost. You can see the power in this card here. Pair that with Technical Genius, you pay 1 less to play artifacts. So if you pulled out, let's just say for example, you pulled this guy out, and you had, so now he's going to be 7-cost. He had 2 of these, so now he's going to be 5-cost. Eternal Guardian for 5-cost is pretty good. Let's just say you had, yeah, I think 5-cost would probably be about right. Yeah, so an Eternal Guardian for 5 is not bad, and hopefully by then you have a double gadget down, so you lay down a 5-cost Guardian, transform him, double gadget into another Eternal Guardian. Now you have 2 Eternal Guardians, 1 protecting the other. So whatever one you lay down second, he protects the other one, so he can't be dealt damage. So if you have 2 of them, how does that work? You know what I mean? Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and other troops you control. So if you have 2 of them out, does this one here protects the other one, and the other one protects this one, so they can't take damage? Never know. So, but basically, if you ever get Eternal Guardian out, you are pretty safe. You're not immune. Obviously you can be dealt with, but you're pretty safe if you ever get him out. So, yes, Gearsmith. A 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, definitely. I think he'll get a lot of use, especially in those heavy artifact decks. And we haven't seen much of it. They went away. I think they're going to come back now. I bet you they, I'm pretty sure they're going to come back with this card here, and we'll see more artifact dwarf-based decks, just kind of like you see right here below. With the Volcanon. We don't see the Volcanon used much anymore. And I haven't been playing Constructed all that much. I've been playing more Sealed, but I think we're going to see more art-based decks, and that's a good thing, because I think they're really cool. I think artifacts bring a uniqueness to the actual game itself. Other than that, there's one other thing. What was it? Cory Jones has started a blog, and let's see if I can remember that. I can remember the address. I don't remember the address right offhand, but what I would do is I'll put it in the description below to Cory's blog there. He talks about mercenaries and the thought processes that went into mercenaries, and how they weren't going to make them tradable, and now they're going to make them tradable, and how they tie into the story, and this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, oh, here it is. Found it. Okay, I'll still put it in the description, but it's CoryHudsonJones.tumblr.com is his blog, so I definitely start following him there. He's a pretty good writer, along with just giving some updates on the actual game itself. So again, I'll put that in the description. I'll also put the patch notes in the description as well, so you can go ahead and go over the ones that we didn't actually go over here. So other than that, yes, that's this week's update. I think it's a good one. sealed play, it's still kind of buggy, which is okay. They'll hopefully get that fixed soon, 'cause I like playing sealed play. Yeah, other than that, if you've liked the video, go and give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these videos, go ahead and click subscribe right down below there somewhere. Over here, right there, no, over there. And I'll have another video for you soon.